Joining me now to discuss this is California Congressman Tom McClintock. Congressman, it's always a pleasure having you. This is the man that will be tough on Russia. Watch.
Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. What do you say to Vladimir Putin?
Well, look, I mean, he has made clear that the answer is, I believe he has in the past essentially acknowledged that he was, there are certain things that he would do or did do.
Oh, man, he's talking about when he called Putin a killer. And as I stated, I don't have high confidence in Biden. What do you say, Congressman?
Chris, I can't tell you what a relief that clip is. He was complimentary of Putin, who he previously called a killer. He viciously attacked House Republicans, who he promised during the campaign to work with. I was afraid that he'd become a hypocrite and a liar. And thank heavens for that clip. Now we know the more likely explanation is he just got confused. Now, what has caused that confusion, that's hard to say. He certainly wasn't taken by surprise since the questions were obviously pre-screened and pre-selected. He was just confused. Frankly, I'm relieved.
Well, Joe Biden will not be holding a joint press conference with Vladimir Putin. When Trump did the same thing, the press accused President Trump of hiding something. So let me ask you, what do you think Biden is hiding? Aren't really socialists just afraid that Biden will be outshined by a former KGB agent?
Well, I'm afraid that's a fear that we all share, and maybe that's why it's a good thing they're not doing a press conference. You know, you get what you vote for. We knew going in that the president had lost a lot of his former pizzazz, and now we're seeing that unfold in real time. The less we see of it in public and the less we see of it on an international stage, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard anybody call it pizzazz. Very, very eloquent there. A new report says a high-ranking Chinese defector in the United States, he's in our custody, has provided evidence that the Chinese military created the China virus and that it was a lab leak. Most troubling, the report says DIA kept CIA, FBI, the State Department in the dark about this defector, fearing that guys like Christopher Wray would run interference for China, like he allegedly did with the Chinese virologist, Dr. Yan Li Meng. Question to you, Congressman. Do you have confidence in FBI Director Christopher Wray?
I think that we need to answer that question by simply looking at the facts. The Wuhan lab was doing gain-of-function research on the coronavirus. They were essentially taking natural viruses and engineering them to be more lethal to humans. The Chinese military was involved in research that was being done at that lab. The research was partially funded by NIH through grants that passed through an NGO. And the COVID-19 virus includes genetic sequencing that's very unlikely to have occurred naturally and is very likely to have been engineered. And among the first victims of the disease were lab workers. Whoever's in charge of the investigation, these facts speak for themselves. Now, I don't think it makes sense that the virus was deliberately released by the Chinese since the first victims were Chinese. I think it's far more likely that the virus was deliberately engineered to easily infect humans and that workers there accidentally contracted it. But the decision by the Chinese government to suspend domestic flights from Wuhan but continue international flights, I think that speaks to an attempt to exploit the accident once it occurred and to hide the nature of the virus. And the sooner we get to the bottom of that, the better.
Yeah, and we're going to get more about this reporting about why our own intelligence agencies don't feel comfortable cooperating with other elements in the intelligence agencies of the State Department a little later on the show. In your state, Congressman, crime is running rampant thanks to, well, single-party rule, Democrat rule. Shocking video taken yesterday shows a man filling a garbage bag with items at a San Francisco Walgreens as a crowd just sits there and watches. Now, left-wing DAs in your state refuse to prosecute theft of $950 or less. Couple that with the left's attack on cops. Are Californians okay with this?
They've put up with it so far. I'm not sure they're going to put up with it much longer. As I said earlier, you get what you vote for. And this is what the people of San Francisco have gotten by voting for these left-wing politicians for decades. And it turns out this is going to shock you, so prepare yourself for this glaring truth. But if you don't prosecute criminals, you get more crime. Who would know?
That's amazing. You know what? Somebody ought to let your governor know and all your DAs out there in California know that they might need a refresher course. Congressman Tom McClintock, always plain spoken. Thank you, sir. We appreciate the time.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.